I think hamster coin something. You can sell it. You earn money.
Okay.
So it's kind of meme coins.
This is quite interesting, by the way. Again, that the development of fiqh was there until a certain time, but then it stopped. So so this is again another thing.
Trading in crypto compared to most of the scores compared to the gambling.
Alhamdulillah, I think that Saraf screening is doing this, and then there are some other solutions. So they are trying to basically address this issue in a systematic manner. In Shariah, for example, I would say that there is no requirement for money to be backed by a government or by a tangible asset. If you say that no, it is a requirement, we have to substantiate this claim with the textual evidence directly from Quran and Sunnah, but we don't see it actually.
And he give me example. Okay, even betting for football matches or for horses, these people also do the analysis. Like they check the players, they check the matches before that, and they spend a lot of time for that. But it's gambling.
Yeah, you are right.
Or it can be financial bubble as well.
Saddu Dhari'a means you basically close the doors which are leading you towards haram.
Yes.
So you are closing the door. Saddu Dhari'a means that.
Like a Bitcoin, in the end, there is no use.
No, okay. So we are talking about utility. Okay.
Yes.
So utility of gold versus utility of Bitcoin. Crypto assets are for the public good or harmful actually. So there is a debate about it because people are
who understand the fiqh and Islam finance and the crypto world. Dr. Farrukh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dr. Farrukh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and hello everyone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone who is watching us. My name is Musluhuddin, the founder of HBS Capital. We do invest in the stock market and crypto market. So today, finally, alhamdulillah, we have one guest, one of few Sharia scholars who understand the fiqh and Islam finance and the crypto world. Dr. Farrukh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Dr. Farrukh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and hello everyone, and jazakallahu khairah. Thank you so much for inviting me in this podcast.
Actually, I would like to thank you that you join us because I know you're a very busy person. Every time when I talk to you, either you travel or you have some events.
Alhamdulillah, it's a pleasure actually. So to be here, it's a pleasure, alhamdulillah.
Okay, Dr. Farrukh, today's topic is about crypto, new financial world. And I think crypto, the even world of crypto is trending right now, I guess. Everyone's talking about that. Even America start accepting. Some of the countries already accepting. In Dubai, for example, we can buy the real estate. We can use it for many transactions, for many things. Now, recently in Hong Kong, the Ertheruem ETF is accepted. And a lot of big funds are start investing in crypto. But still, we have a lot of doubts in Islamic world, for example, on crypto. If you don't mind, let's see who is Dr. Farrukh, if you talk about that, because some of the people are there saying, okay, who is there? There's a lot of questions. Who is Dr. Farrukh? Who is Dr. Farrukh? So if I take you a little bit back, your background, where you study and where you born, and if you start that.
Okay, jazakallahu khairan, and thank you so much. I think that it is important to also give background to the people because, of course, in Muslim world and also in the other worlds, people would like to know that if the person who is talking about a specific subject, has he spent time on it, understanding on it, and has he spent time on doing research or not? So I think that this is very, very good if people are asking this question rather than blindly saying that one sheikh has already said something and then just we will follow it. We do not know the name, we do not know his background. So I am actually from Karachi, Pakistan. I was born and raised in that city, and I memorized Quran, alhamdulillah, there in Karachi, and I started my Sharia studies in Banuri town. It's the university's name is Jamia Ulumul Islamiyya Banuri town, and I did Dars-e-Nizami. We call the course as Dars-e-Nizami. It comprises mainly on 4 subjects. One is Arabic, The other one is hadith and the ulum al-hadith, and then tafsir, ulum al-tafsir, and we have fiqh and ulum al-fiqh and usul al-fiqh. So we mainly focus on these 4 areas, and I studied there for 8 years, from 2000 to 2008. And simultaneously, I also continued my modern education. For example, I did high school, and then I studied economics from Karachi University. I got my bachelor and master from Karachi University during the same period. And by the time I graduated from the Jamia Ulum al-Islamiyya in 2008, I already got masters in economics simultaneously. And then I further carry on my studies. So I went to UK and I studied banking and finance from Queen Mary University of London. And in 2011, I went to Malaysia and started doing my PhD in Islamic finance. During that time, I was blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I started a full-time job as a researcher and as a consultant advisor in ISRA, which is a research institute under Central Bank of Malaysia. From 2013 until 19, I was associated with ISRA. And this also played a very vital role, my association with ISRA, in my crypto journey. Because back in 2016, I formally started my research on Shariah compliance of cryptos. It was basically, this topic was suggested by Central Bank of Malaysia to our institute to do the research. And I was personally following Bitcoin and this phenomena out of my personal curiosity, out of my personal interest in the subject of Islamic monetary policy. So I was following this. And there is a funny story behind it, that how I found Bitcoin actually. As a researcher, as you know, I was trying to send some money to my parents in Pakistan from Malaysia. And so I did a research on that. And then that's where basically back in 2014, I found that, okay, there is something called Bitcoin, which is a community money, and people transact with it on a platform which is called blockchain. So I started digging more and more about it. But my formal journey started back in 2016 when I started the research in my office for this topic. And then after a while, what I found is actually the crux of my research was that there were so many cryptocurrencies even by that time, like 2016 and 17. And so what I found is not all cryptocurrencies were haram, not all of them were halal. So some of them were halal, some of them were not halal. It is like that. And I will be explaining more to you about it, that why I reached to that conclusion. But my understanding was that with my research background, I completed my PhD in Islamic capital market in 2016. So, and I specifically studied the Sharia screening criteria for stocks. So that's where basically I got the understanding, because I had this Alhamdulillah Sharia background, and also I was into the capital market area, and then I studied for my PhD Sharia screening criteria for different stocks, that how those criteria were built, what is the reason behind them, why they were built, which stock is Sharia compliant, which one is not. So I studied that. And because of that, it gave me some sort of like an edge to also build a Sharia screening criteria for cryptos. So for me, I mean, that's how I was looking at them, that it's not a currency, it's a security. So, and if it is a security, then how can we basically classify it, and how can we create a Sharia screening criteria for that? But I will come to that part later. And yeah, so that's how basically I started my research and consultancy advisory in the crypto space from 2016. And then I got involved in so many different projects where I had different roles. Like in some projects, I was basically one of the core team member. In some projects, I was the Sharia advisor, strategic advisor, and also I was involved in not only screening crypto assets, like saying that, okay, which one is halal and which one is haram, but further I stepped into the product structuring, that how an Islamic or Sharia compliant financial product can be built with crypto assets. So this is basically the area where I had been focusing after 2019, for example.
No. So you were saying like you were actually studying the screening stocks. What attracted you, I mean, from crypto? I mean, then you switched to the crypto. What attracted you? Why the crypto?
Okay, yeah, this is a very good question because for me, when I looked at the traditional Islamic banking sector and Islamic finance industry as a whole, it is highly regulated industry, and it is basically sort of a very systematic industry where if I want to contribute, if I want to invent anything, it's very, very difficult, by the way. So everything is established, the processes, the procedures, everything is quite regulations, laws, compliances, everything is quite established. So people working in the traditional Islamic finance industry, I feel that they are a cogwheel in the bigger system.
Yeah.
You understand? But for me, technology, the latest technology after specifically the the Industrial Revolution 4.0, we talk about it and say that like it started back in 2015. So it's very, very recent. And because of that, there is a boom in technological advancement. For example, you have blockchain, you have artificial intelligence, LLM models are doing super great. So, and then there are some IoT devices coming up and mobile phones, 5G. So these are the technologies which are also promoting financial innovation. In that sense, I feel that fintech sector as a general sector has a lot of potential to offer some sort of innovation, some sort of fresh ideas, even for Islamic finance. So this is what I feel very strongly. And because of that, I see that like in crypto, what fascinates me a lot is basically it's sort of like a blank page, what you want to write on it. If you want to write a very, very Sharia compliant and halal product on it, you can write it. Nobody is stopping you. So this is something which fascinated me a lot, and that's why I got attracted. Of course, there is a negative part of it also, because some people use this blank page for evil purposes. So fraud, scam, you can basically also create a scam on it. So yes, of course, I'm not saying that you cannot, but you need to understand that if you have a good intention and you really want to contribute in the Islamic finance industry, I think that this technological advancement, even in crypto, you can do a lot. Just a very small example is that so many Islamic banks, they are reluctant to do mudaraba or musharaka because it is too risky for them, right? And I understand their position, not criticizing. I do understand, and but at the same time, I see that like I was able to push mudaraba-based crypto products. And I was able to structure them. I was able to actually introduce them, and they were successful in that sense. Not, I mean, of course, like there are, I mean, I would not say it was 100% successful in the sense that the product structuring, the market acceptance, the launching was okay. I mean, there was no hurdle in it because there are no strict regulations that you have to basically comply with certain conditions.
Question. I always question myself. See, this crypto is innovation, right? And my question was, okay, something new innovation come. How many steps it takes, like it become halal in accepting Islam?
Yeah, I think that this is a very, very good question. So there are so many aspects of it. So like I will try to address them one by one. So number one is how much time does it take to accept an innovation in Islam or in Sharia, right? And previously we were the inventors, we were leading the innovation in the whole world. So how come like now we are quite reluctant, lagging behind? And also at the same time now we are taking our time to understand the innovations and taking the systems, products and services and other innovations from other people. So you are right completely. Like if you look at the Muslim history, so we were the inventors. People were learning from us, alhamdulillah. So that was our glorious history. But even why it happened, you have to ask ourselves that there were some Islamic legal maxims promoting innovations. Now, we have to be very careful and also be aware of that innovations in Islam is not something appreciative, but innovation in the world which is Sharia compliant is much more encouraged. So this is the thing. So we are, and even like in muamalat, for example, when we are talking about public dealings, when we are talking about transactions, innovation is encouraged. Innovation is not encouraged in worship, in the act of worship. Ibadat, for example. So ibadat are a manqul, we say it. What does it mean? Is basically whatever we have got in the nusus, like textual evidences, whatever we have got from Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and whatever we have got from Sahaba ridwanullahi ta'ala alaihim ajma'in, and whatever we have got from the fuqaha in terms of worship. Of course, this is manqul, and then we will not introduce any innovation over there. But if you look at muamalat, if you look at public dealings, like man-to-man relationship, there are some things which are basically open for innovations, open for new ideas. And that's why fuqaha actually created a legal maxim which says that al-aslu fil ashya'i al-ibaha hatta yadulla dalil ala tahrim, which means that the basic ruling, the fundamental ruling in matters which are related to fiqh al-muamalat or public dealings, transactions, is that they are allowed. Unless and until there is a direct nas, there is a direct evidence which says that it is haram. And this is until now is the majority of the is the position of majority of the fuqaha, that they say, okay, in public dealings, in transactions, you are allowed to do any innovation or any new idea you can implement, as long as it does not fall under the prohibited area. Islam, alhamdulillah, Sharia is very clear that it has defined the prohibited area for us. As long as it is not prohibited, then you can do whatever you want. Now, this is one part of your question. But now the second part is like how long we have to wait. I think that we shouldn't be waiting for it. Why? Because if you look at the history of modern banking, it started 400 years back. Modern banking. Before that, there wasn't any bank, but modern banking started 400 years back, roughly. Then you have Islamic banking, which started only 40 years back. So there is a gap of 360 years where the world was dominated by conventional banking. Okay? And what happened is, like, when Muslims started Islamic banking, until now, I can say it's more than 40 years. Until now, we are Islamic banking as an industry is struggling to differentiate itself from the conventional banking. It is still struggling in terms of its theoretical grounds, practical grounds, and product side, services side, that it has to be differentiated from there. It's struggling because it's relying so much on the conventional side that it is very, very difficult. And that is why we have so many debates in Islamic banking industry and Islamic finance industry about Sharia based and Sharia compliant. That, okay, what we want to be. Like, either we take our banking system from Quran and Sunnah directly, this is Sharia based. So like directly depending on the rulings and principles of Islam, and create something which might be more rooted in the Quran and Sunnah, or we just go as Sharia compliant, means that we just take the conventional product, conventional system, and try to see that, like, whether, okay, this thing is a halal, this thing is haram, so we take it out. This thing is haram, we take it out, and then it becomes Sharia compliant. So this is the approach of Sharia compliance. And then there was a debate about being Sharia based. And now you also see there are so many other debates in Islamic finance. For example, Maqasid al-Sharia debate, that whether Islamic finance is fulfilling Maqasid al-Sharia or not. So all these debates were there. Even like now, a very trending phenomena, although like I'm deviating from the topic, but I would just want to show you that ESG, for example. So like everybody is talking about sustainability, right? And talking about like how can we be sustainable, and then we can be compliant with the SDGs also from United Nations. So I ask myself sometimes that why do we need these kind of debates? Why? Because of two things. Number one is like our conventional part, like the conventional banking industry was so established, we took a lot of time to basically, of course, like there were some political reasons behind them. Colonization happened, Muslim world was not ready, and then there was a disconnect between fiqh also. You can see that like the development of fiqh, if this is quite interesting by the way, again, that the development of fiqh was there until a certain time, but then it stopped. So like so this is again another thing, but again that's a different topic. So what happened is like we waited a lot, and then when by the time we started Islamic banking, it was already very late. Now we are still struggling even after 40 years. I do not want to repeat the same mistake with crypto. Crypto is just 13 years old right now. I really want to push the whole Muslim world that if they are not to really push the whole Muslim world actually to get involved into it and use it for betterment. Use it with good intention. Innamal a'malu bin niyat. So if you have good intention, use it, because it's a tool. Yeah. It's a platform. It's a technology. You can use it for your own purposes. If you don't like, don't like Bitcoin, for example, if you don't like any other thing, why don't you create your own? Who is stopping you from there? But don't waste your time. This is because we have already seen what happened in Islamic banking. So I do not want to repeat the same mistake in crypto. So that's why I am quite optimistic about it, and I really want to be playing an active role, and I want the whole ummah to play an active role in this industry, in new market.
It's in Islamic perspective, it's asset or currency?
Okay. So just to very briefly answer your question, first part of the question is, and then I will come to this part, that I wanted to basically also say that like when I am quite optimistic about crypto, it doesn't mean that everybody should get involved into it, because again, it's a highly risky sector, or I would say like part of the financial market. But of course, we will talk about it later. But right now, I just want to say that like we, as a Muslim also, we also have responsibility, and we have to be cautious also. So I am not saying that when you are going for any crypto project or any invention, for example, in generally, doesn't mean that like you just get involved into it and say that, okay, now I am, without calculating the risk, without calculating that how much is the haram portion or halal portion. So we have to do that. We have to do our own analysis. For individuals, for institutions, this is the same. Like, what is their risk appetite? Have they done their enough research? And what they are going to do? Are they clear about their vision, mission, and objective? So this is very, very, I want to basically say first that this is very, very important. Now, coming back to the beginning, that whether crypto is an asset or a currency. So I would say that a lot of confusion in the Muslim world and among the Sharia scholars I have seen is because of this misnomer or misuse of the terminology. What is the terminology? Initially, when crypto started back in 2009, when Bitcoin was introduced, it was introduced as a P2P payment system, also known as cryptocurrency. But it doesn't mean that every crypto asset is a currency. So we have to look. Now there are more than 10,000, 20,000, I do not know, but different databases. For example, CoinMarketCap gives us a different number. Other databases, they give us different number, but they are in thousands. So like at least more than 10,000, right? Bitcoin is one of them. And so we have to basically categorize them accordingly. Now it has become an asset class, which means that it is no more a currency only, no more a payment system. And I will give you some examples also later on. So what is it now? It has become and evolved into a complete asset class. Under that asset class, there are different categories. One is currency. The other one is, I would say, non-currency. And then under non-currency, you have different classes also. For example, some of them are utility tokens. So you can classify them separately. Some of them are security tokens, and they are backed by tangible assets. So you classify them separately. And then you have NFTs, for example. So NFTs are classified separately. So that's how basically you do the classification. So initially, you can say that there are currencies, and then there are non-currencies. Non-currencies can be divided into different parts, like there are hybrids also. Now, there are some coins and tokens which are not only utility tokens, for example, but they are also used as a payment. So then they are hybrids because they combine the features of a currency and also the feature of a utility or a good. So that's how basically we divide them first. If you divide them accordingly, then it will be very, very easy to apply the Sharia ruling of each and every category. For example, first of all, of course, like you have to divide them at a higher stage, that which one is halal and which one is not halal. So I am only talking about halal's ones, that how do I do it? For example, if a cryptocurrency does, or a crypto asset does not entail any prohibited element, then it will be halal, right? And then under that halal, you can divide them into currencies, non-currencies, under non-currency, you can have utility tokens, you can have security tokens, you can have NFTs, and other types of tokens. Now, how do you define currencies then? Because this is basically important to understand that whether it is a currency or asset. And if it is an asset, then why it is a non-currency, I will tell you. Currencies are normally two types. One is reserved backed currencies and non-reserved backed currencies. I give you an example of USDC and USDT. It's a reserved backed cryptocurrency. Because why? Because it has a reserve. Behind it, there is a dollar. There is a USDC. Behind USDC, there is a dollar, right? And because of that, they issue USDC as a token, and it has pegged value with the US dollar. So it's a reserve-backed cryptocurrency. Another example is Bitcoin. It's a non-reserve-backed cryptocurrency. Because why it is a non-reserve backed? Because there is no reserve behind it. But it is still a currency because people trust it and use it as a payment mode.
So Bitcoin, we check, is a currency.
It's a currency, yes. Now, and whatever token we use for payments, whether it is on-chain payments, for smart contracts payments, for gas fees, for example, this feature will make the token a currency, okay, or a money, we can also call it money. So this is basically separate category. Then you have non-currency tokens or coins. For example, if it is backed by a commodity, palladium, precious metal. Now, I am intentionally avoiding here gold and silver because in Sharia, gold and silver is recognized as currency. So gold-backed tokens, silver-backed tokens, which the tokens which are backed by the physical gold behind them or physical silver behind them, they are considered as currencies. So put them in that category. Coming back again to the non-currency. So if a token is backed by palladium or precious metal, real estate, for example, then you can categorize them accordingly as a non-currency, because we can see that people, even let's suppose that we tokenize this building today. So these tokens will be non-currency tokens because they are considered according to the law and regulations as securities. Securities cannot be used as currencies by law. So because of that, That's how I basically say that like it is non-currency, because by law you cannot use it for payment system. Although like if there is no law, you might be able to do that, but no, nobody is doing it. So securities cannot be used for that. NFTs are also like that. Nobody is using it as a payment. Of course, if you do that, it will become like a barter system. You pay NFTs and somebody is giving you another commodity token, commodity-based token. So it will be, I will say it's a barter, but it doesn't make NFT as a currency. So that's how basically we categorize them. And when you understand this, it will be much more easier for you to come up with a Sharia ruling for that.
So let's talk about Bitcoin. We can enter like a little bit more details. So you are saying it's a currency.
Yes.
It's currency, but okay, but it's not backed by any government.
Okay, but my argument is that if you boil down that what is a currency and what is not a currency, if you boil down this thing that okay, what is the one factor there? It's basically people I am talking about from the Sharia and fiqh perspective, by the way. So from the Sharia and fiqh perspective, when people start using anything which is halal in its nature as a mode of payment, it will become money. So Sharia is very simple and very straightforward in it.
Then why most of the scholars like are saying it's not backed by government? That's why they are.
It's a confusion basically. It's a misperception. Okay, so I will talk about it, but I will give you an example of a narration from Umar radiallahu ta'ala an. Okay, and it is mentioned in Muwatta Imam Malik. So where Umar radiallahu ta'ala an said that I want to issue currency or money in the form of camel skin. Okay, so he said that okay, I want to basically ask people to use camel skin as currencies. Sahaba did not say okay, it is not backed by government. It will not be backed by a tangible asset, because imagine if it is a camel skin, right, and you cut it into small pieces. What you are going to do with that? It's not a tangible good, right? You are not going to use it practically for something else, right? It's just a small piece of camel skin. But you can use it. Now, Umar radiallahu ta'ala an came up with this idea and said that, okay, I want to do that. Sahaba did not argue with him that, okay, it will not be backed by the government, there will be no tangible asset, how we are going to do it, right? What they said is, they say, if you do that, there will be no camel in Medina. Meaning that people will start slaughtering camels and making money out of their skins. So we will face a problem of scarcity of camels. And as you know that back in the days, camels were the greatest mode of transportation. So it means that it has some multiple issues with that, with this proposition that like you will have lack of means of transportation. So that's how basically Sahaba argued with him, and then he said, okay, yeah, you are right. Imam Malik rahimahullah, on the basis of that hadith, he said that if people start using camel skin as money, riba ruling will also be applicable on that. Meaning that, okay, I will accept it and riba ruling will be applicable on it. You understand? So again, there was no currency. Even like, okay, now this is one way of addressing the question that, okay, if Bitcoin is not backed by a government, there is no tangible asset behind it, then how can it be a currency? Another way of arguing with it is basically, if you look at Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam era, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not issue any currency. In Medina, we do not see it. Even Abu Bakr Radhiyallahu Ta'ala an also did not issue any currency backed by the government of the Muslim government, right? Umar Radhiyallahu Ta'ala an also did not do it. So the first coin we see in the Muslim world which was issued, although like there is some disagreement, but majority of the fuqaha and the historians said that the first coin was issued in the era of Sulaiman bin Abdul Malik, much later than Sahaba. So there was no government-backed currency. People were using Byzantine coins and coins from other people, but as long as they were like gold-backed coins and the silver coins. Okay, so they were dinars and dirhams. Dinars were gold coins and dirhams were silver coins. Now, you can argue that those dinar and dirhams were silver coins or gold coins, so like they were backed by something.
Yes.
Although like it was not government backed, but they were at
yeah.
least backed by something. So, but again, the argument, if you know, my first argument was like camel skin. So what is the commodity behind it? I mean, there is nothing, right? Now, fast forward, we also see that like now Sharia scholars, they accept paper money, right? And we pay zakat in it, and it's a form of wealth, and we conduct our transactions as paper money. Again, there is no commodity behind this money, this paper money, this piece of paper. If you look at the worth of this paper, it will be much lesser than one. Let's suppose that it's $100 bill. It doesn't mean that the value of the paper is $100. You understand? It is just written on it that, okay, it is $100, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Backed by the government.
Yeah.
Okay, again. But in Sharia, for example, I would say that like there is no requirement for money to be backed by a government or by a tangible asset. If you say that like, no, it is a requirement, we have to substantiate this claim with the textual evidence directly from Quran and Sunnah, but we don't see it actually. So this is basically the argument we have. Now, philosophical question, last part, then I will let you speak. So the last part is basically the philosophical, that okay, what it boils down to, whether you have a government-backed money or a commodity-backed money, why actually do you want to have that? The question is why? Why it is there? It's because to build people's trust, right? But what if people's trust is built without these things, without government backing, without a commodity backing? By the way, tangible assets, we will talk about it later, that okay, when we say commodity backed currency, tangible assets, so people think that okay, there is a Sharia requirement for any type of asset that it has to be physical. No, it is not correct. Again, it's a misconception. I will clear it later. But just to finish this, my answer is that the thing is like it boils down to people's trust. So sometimes people's trust is built because of the government backing.
Yes.
Sometimes people's trust is built with the existence of a commodity behind it, right? But sometimes if people do not want to build their trust on either of these things and they can build their trust on the system itself, then it's still okay, as long as the system and the product of that system is Sharia compliant. Now, Bitcoin is exactly the same thing, that people have trust in the system of Bitcoin, and the product of Bitcoin, the coins the system generates, they have trust in it. That's why right now Bitcoin is almost like $68,000, right? Yes. So what does it tell you? It tells you that people have, this is basically a trust level, right? Why? Because people have trust in Bitcoin and they are willing to pay $68,000 against one Bitcoin. That is kind of a trust people have in the system.
Yes, but in other...
So this is like an indication of the trust.
Yeah, but it can be financial bubble as well.
Okay.
So because let's see, Umar radiallahu anhu, because maybe, I don't know, he said that when he was Khalifa, that he wants the camel skin in the currency. When he was Khalifa, he was the government, right? He was the government. But here, even the Bitcoin created by anonymous. And we don't know. We still don't know who is that Satoshi.
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Satoshi Nakamoto. Nakamoto.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know. So I recently was listening to one of the scholars. He was saying it is like a financial bubble because people are buying it from the hype, from the just listening. Oh, price goes up. They just keep buying it. Even they don't trust fully. They just keep buying it, so they don't want to miss the, let's say, opportunity. So it leads what fake price. Price goes up, right? So how we know like it's not financial?
Okay. So I would say that, okay, there is a limit to a financial bubble.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is created and it burst. But what if the financial bubble doesn't burst? Then it's not a financial bubble, right? So my argument is that, first of all, we have to be very, very clear first that, okay, what Sharia says to us, like what is the definition of a currency? If there is a Sharia requirement that it has to be government backed or not. Now, you gave an example that, okay, when Umar Radiallahu Ta'ala expressed his view that he wants to issue currency in the form of camel skin, he was government. Yeah, it's a good argument. But we have also seen throughout Muslim history that people were not only relying on gold coins and silver coins like dinar and dirhams. They were scarce. When the Muslim population got bigger, the Muslim expansions got bigger, many countries were dealing in different parts of the world, there was not enough gold and silver among them, right? So people were also using fulus, the concept of fulus. What were they? They were actually metallic coins pegged to the value of a dinar or dirham, for example. Okay, and they were not necessarily being issued by the government of that region, you understand? So it was not. So, and people were using it very, very excessively. So like there are evidence from the Muslim history that they were using it in Egypt, for example. And I remember that one of the scholar, I forgot his name, but I think that it was Allama Shami rahimahullah, a Hanafi scholar. Then but I doubt about his name, but that whether it was him or some other Sharia scholar. But it was a Hanafi scholar. He was saying that like in my whole life, I have never seen a dinar and dirham. They were just using fulus, right? So that was the excessive usage of those fulus, and those fulus were not actually issued by government, by the way. So this is basically by the norm, by the custom of the people. So right now, if a custom has been built by so many people that, okay, we want to value Bitcoin, we want to see the price of the Bitcoin as such, like above $68,000, then it's a custom. It's a customary practice. Now, what we have to do is, from the Sharia perspective, we have to see whether it is involved in a haram element or not. Like the system itself, the token itself is haram or not. So we have to basically check it. As long as it is like that, then we can say, then we can also use it for as money or as for payment system. So there is no problem with that. So again, government backing, and commodity backing is basically to build trust. Why even like I can counter argue like why you have so much trust in gold, for example? Why? Although like for me, I mean, it's also a financial bubble. Gold value is hyped throughout the whole human history, I would say. But this is the bubble which never busted. So that's why it was not a bubble. You understand?
Okay, but I would, for example, why gold? I would say, because see, even if it's mentioned in the Quran, I think that gold will be, let's say, mother of currency. I would say, like we relate everything to the gold.
But right
even
now,
even zakat, for example, from the taken from the gold, right?
Okay, but right now, I would say that gold is not a currency right now. Although, like from the Sharia perspective, it will remain as a currency. But if you look at the customary practice, gold is not a currency at all right now in practice, right? Either it's an investment product, people buy it just for the investment purposes, that when the value of the gold will go up, they will sell it at a profit, right? Or people like it because they want to basically have jewelries, right? So this is the only reason. That's why people like it, and then that's why it has a value, it has a price, and which is always inflated, by the way. If you look at the actual usage of the gold, it's very, very limited. Only I was reading one research, and it says that like only 10% of the gold in the whole world is used for industrial purposes, for actual production purposes. Other than that,
it's true, but still, it can be useful. Like you can use it for let's say in electronic industry. So I think it decreases some electric things.
Yeah.
But in like Bitcoin, in the end, there's no use.
No. Okay. So we are talking about utility. Okay.
Yes.
So utility of gold versus utility of Bitcoin. Now I would say it's not exactly the same, but still, you will see that like there are some things which are overlapping. Number one, again, we say that like the industrial usage of gold is very, very, very limited. Mostly, why you are using gold? For example, if I ask you if you have gold, for example, why do you have that gold?
For example, if I would buy gold, I would buy just for investment.
Yeah, right? And what does it mean that you are buying gold for investment? If you break it down in very, very simple words, then you are buying gold and hoping that tomorrow the value of gold will go up and you will sell it at a profit. If you know that gold price is going down tomorrow, will you buy gold now?
No.
No, right?
Not even gold, nothing.
Yes. So again, it's the same story with Bitcoin. Why you are buying this? Mostly people buying Bitcoin, for example. They are buying it in the hope that okay, like its value will go up, because like it's still in the process of finding its fair value. What is the fair value of one Bitcoin? Is it $60,000? Is it $100,000? Is it $1 million? We do not know. It is still in the process of finding its fair value. Now, so people are still buying it and they are taking the risk. Now, but again, coming back to our discussion that okay, gold has a utility. What is the utility of Bitcoin? So the utility of Bitcoin is actually to transfer the value digitally within seconds, cross-border, limitless. So this is the value of Bitcoin, utility of Bitcoin. Now, you can argue with me that for me, it's not a utility. It can be. So again, I accept that argument that yeah, it is subjective. For me, it's a utility. For you, maybe it's not a utility. Why? Because now I can give you an example again. For me, it might be a utility. Why? Because I am spending a lot of money in paying fees and other charges when I am doing cross-border transaction. I am paying a lot of fees. So for me, if I use Bitcoin, I will be saving that fees, right? So it's a utility for me. Maybe you do not deal much in cross-border transactions. Because of that, for you, you say it's not a utility. I don't see a utility that you can do a cross-border transaction with it within few seconds or within few minutes, but I don't see it. But for me, it's a big, big, big utility, because I'm saving money in where otherwise I would end up paying a lot of fees and different charges, conversion rates, and etc. and whatever is in remittances, for example. So for me, it's a utility.
Because we in the business also sometimes most of the time we use the banks to transfer, but it takes 2-3 days. So because of that, we're not receiving our goods on the time. So recently, that's why why USDT? Because USDT is in a couple of minutes and very low transaction. It was very useful for us, and I think it's in Dubai, most of the business owners, they are using it already.
Yeah. So this is basically a form of utility. So you are arguing that okay, gold has a utility because 10% of it has some industrial usage. I'm saying okay, Bitcoin has a utility against it, which is saving cost of transfer of funds. And secondly, also further answering your question that okay, gold is also mentioned in Quran and it's mother of all currencies. Of course, I would say I don't agree with the statement, but gold is mentioned in Quran because people understand gold more as compared to Bitcoin. Even at that, in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's era, and in Sahaba Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajma'in era, you see that like gold was predominantly used as currency. So people understood it when, so Quran basically was revealed in those people's language, right? So to make it easier for them to understand. It doesn't mean that this, it is not written in Quran anywhere that gold has to be the money and gold has to be used as money. No, it is not written in Quran. Even in hadith, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also in Ribawi hadith, he mentioned gold first, like al-dhahabu bit-dhahabi, and then he also said that it has to be transacted on a spot, yadan biyadin. But at the same time, you have to understand that again, it didn't mean that like other forms of currency were excluded. Otherwise, fuqaha previous fuqaha would have also mentioned fulus as prohibited form of currency. It was not backed by the government, and also they were not gold and silver, right? And by the extension of that understanding, we could have argued that the latest form of money, which is fiat money, paper currency, should be considered haram as well, because there is no backing of gold, by the way. It's again a perception that people think that like our fiat money, national currency, is backed by gold and silver. No, it is not backed by gold and silver. It is not backed by anything which is tangible, in the sense that, okay, you can pinpoint that, okay, this is basically the thing which is backing it, a tangible asset, right? So it's not. But of course, like there is a government assurance behind it. Now the assurance is something different. And now we can argue about it whether a government insurance is necessary or not. From the Sharia perspective, we can argue about that. But again, if we are saying that, okay, gold is only the only form of money which is recognized by Islam, no, it's not correct.
So for the currency, your argument is like, in Islam, there's no mention like it has to be backed by government, and yeah, it shouldn't be
even
like,
a physical asset.
Yeah, and some of the scholars, not most of them, they were arguing that it's not tangible, but I think it's already not.
Yeah. So also, I would like to add in that if it is not tangible, so even if you look at modern economies, pick any economy, you will not find the physical notes circulated within that economy or within that country more than 10%. 10% is the highest. For example, if you take an example of the UK, so how many physical notes are there being circulated within the economy? Can you guess? So it's not more than 2.5%, which means that 97.5% is in the digital form, not tangible.
Yes.
You cannot touch it, okay? It's in the digit form. Now, there is an argument also like, okay, because Bitcoin is not tangible, it's digital, it's in the form of digits, that's why it is not a currency. But I think that this argument is again flawed, because you look at the British pound, 97.5% is in the form of digits, in the form of digital money. Only 2.5% is issued physically in the form of notes. So, and then if you go to any jurisdiction, you go to any country, you will not find physical currency more than 10%. 90% is digital. So, which means that if we are recognizing digital money there, then why we are saying that Bitcoin is haram, for example, because it's digital.
Recently, I was speaking with one of the scholars, and he was giving, let's see, currency USDT. USDT is a digital currency, right? USDT. He said, okay, for short term, you can use USDT, but if you talk about 10 years, 15 years, I will not suggest it will be haram to use USDT because after a while, I don't know what's going to happen. But if we check the currency which is backed by government, for example, let's say Turkey, the lira, I would never ever keep the lira these days. Or Lebanon, what's happened? People are not getting their currency. Or Nigeria, for example. Even Nigerian, like they will not keep their currency because if you exchange $100, it's going to be a big amount. So my question, like, what's their argue then? Like, why they still saying like no, it's not halal? What's like real argument?
So unfortunately, again, this argument is flawed. Why? Because I would say that, okay, where is the basis in Sharia and fiqh about this ruling that you can use USDT in the short term but not in the long term? And how would you define the short term and long term also? Like if you say, okay, after 10 years, you cannot use it. What is the basis of that? Because you have to have a clear-cut basis, textual nusus in Quran or Sunnah to declare something halal or haram. So the most, I mean, okay, there is an argument of uncertainty. There is an argument about whether there is a scam or fraud in it. So because of that, the most from the Sharia perspective we could say is that you can avoid it. But saying it's haram or halal, it's a very, very strong ruling. And for such kind of strong ruling, you need higher level of textual evidence, nusus, direct nusus, by the way, to declare something halal or haram, for example. So if you are saying it is haram, you have to give me the direct nusus for that. So if they are not doing it, then I think that this is a flawed argument.
Okay, then about Bitcoin, if you finish with Bitcoin, because first we have to talk about crypto, then we go to trading, because if the asset is already haram, this trading is we don't even need to talk. And Ethereum, because now it's second biggest crypto, it's growing very fast. Is it we check it's a currency or it's an asset?
I would say that it's a currency. Why? Because it is being used to pay gas fees on the Ethereum network. So that was the first utility. But the network utility is basically you can write smart contracts, which means that like you can run any software or program on it. A smart contract means like you can basically have a decentralized application on it. So this is being facilitated by the platform, and you have to pay the fees for the platform to utilize those kind of decentralized application. So that's why Ether is there, and you pay fees. So Ether is actually a currency.
But in Bitcoin, there is when we go to details, still we don't know who is behind it. It might be very easily financial bubble. But in Ethereum, we know who is behind it, and there is some big project is going on. So most of my question.
Yeah, but you are right. But you know that, okay, you can ask the question that, okay, for Bitcoin, for example, we do not know who is the founder of it.
Yeah, that's like, actually, that's my real question. Like, we still don't know who is real. And it really can be scam from the, let's say, from the Russia. Some people are saying it's Russians. Some people are like the America. It can be, right? So without we knowing.
But doesn't matter now. That's
doesn't matter, yeah.
Why? Because, okay, I tell you. I will speak in that sense. It's a good question that if Bitcoin is there and we do not know who is the creator of Bitcoin, so it might be a financial bubble, it might be a scam, it might be a fraud, right? People have concerns about it. But let me just tell you one thing is Bitcoin code, Bitcoin system is already open source, meaning that whoever was the founder of Bitcoin, the creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto is the pseudonym, but he has already delivered that project to the community. It is no longer being run by himself or herself or themselves. So right now, it's the community behind it, and you can do a proper audit because it's an open source code. So there is nothing behind the code. The code is already visible, auditable. Whoever wants to download all the transactions of Bitcoin, they can do so. They can see that, okay, what is written in the code and how it is written. And it is being run right now by the community, not by one single authority or one single person. So because of that, I would say that now it has become irrelevant to know that, okay, whether who is Satoshi Nakamoto or not. it has become irrelevant already, because we have got the project, we have already audited it because it was open source, and the community is running it now. So it's like somebody has created a park for the public and given the administration of the park to certain people, 10 people, let's suppose. And he has already hand over every document you can imagine, every documentation, legal compliance of the park, the authority, everything to them. They have already passed it on to the people who are now the administration.
Yeah.
And that person died, let's suppose. And nobody knows who was that person, let's suppose. But now, can you see that now every possible documentation I'm talking about now, every documentation, legal compliance, the land is now in the hands of the administrator. You know the administrator, for example. So do you still think that now it's questionable, and I really want to know why he basically given this park to the public, and why he did that and why he did not do that, and what was his nature, something like that, why he did it even in the first place. Let's suppose now the administrator has decided, okay, this is the charter, that's how we are going to use this park. They already published it and told the public, okay, this is everything is written. He gave us this. These are the, I would say, commandments
Yeah.
to run the park, and according to that, we will run that park. So I mean, there is no every possibility you can think of. Now there is no reason. There is no valid reason for that. That okay, you have to basically find the creator of it. Now, from the Sharia perspective, also there is not a condition. Because okay, it might be a condition because it might be a evil scheme against Muslim, let's suppose. But then you already have the code. How, I really don't know that what else do you need. You can audit the code. You can download all the transaction from the beginning, from the Genesis block until now. You can audit them all. So again, coming back to the argument that, okay, who was the creator? I think that now this question has already become very irrelevant. And because we have the project and the community is running it. Number two is, you said that like Ethereum might have some utility, but it's really hard to see whether Bitcoin has the utility or not. Again, I go back to the argument that Bitcoin has a specific utility. Because what it can do, it can transfer value from one party to another, and Bitcoin has more trust than Ethereum until now. Although, like in terms of utility, Ethereum might be better, but in terms of the trust, people still trust more and give more weightage to Bitcoin and importance also. So, which means that like still, I would say that it is already enough from the Sharia perspective if you want to consider it and remove your doubts actually.
Can we close this topic with saying, okay, what's the rules or shurut in Islamic, in Sharia to become a currency? Like
Okay.
To have a currency, what's the rules? And we
Okay.
compare with the Bitcoin and let's see.
If you collectively see all the school of fiqh, what is the requirement for them to be mal? I want to basically start from there. Because if something is not mal, like this is an Arabic word, it can be translated in English like wealth, it can be translated like asset or property, right? So what are the Sharia requirements for anything to be considered as an asset or property or wealth? So if you combine all the four school of fiqh and see that like what were they are saying about the conditions briefly, then you will see that like there are mainly four conditions. Number one is that thing has to be something which has a commercial value. Like even like Ibn Abidin rahimahullah, a Hanafi scholar, defined mal as ma yamilu ilayhin nas. Mal is anything which people incline towards it, like to have it. People give some value to it and they want to have it.
Yeah.
So this is the only very simple thing. He's defining mal in that sense. Okay, but of course, like there are some other conditions, so I will go on to that. So first one is basically people want it, people incline towards it, and it has a commercial value. So this is can be translated into that, like it has some values, because of that people want it. If it doesn't have any value, then why would somebody want it, right? So this is number one. Number two, it can be owned by somebody.
Okay.
So like the ownership can be established on it. This is number two. So you have something which is valuable. Number two is like somebody can own it. Number three is like this thing or whatever it is, it can be transferred from one person to another. So like right now it is in my possession, it's my ownership, and the ownership can be transferred to you. So this is the third condition. The fourth condition is like it can be possessed also, like you can have a qabd on it. Possession means like, of course, like you have ownership, but I don't have a possession. So then it will be a problem. For example, let's suppose that I have a camel, but I have lost it. So although like it's in my ownership, but I don't have possession. So I cannot sell it to you, I cannot transfer it to you, because I don't have the possession of the camel, right? So similarly, it has to be possessed also. Like it has an ability to do it, for example. So these are the four main conditions. If you go through all the school of fiqh, then they would say that these are the mainly four conditions combinedly. Now, so this is the first thing which we need for something to be recognized as mal, property, wealth, or asset. Second thing is where Imam Imam Abu Hanifa is different from the majority of the school of fiqh, like Hanbali, Malikis, and Shafi'is, which is basically, in the first place, Imam the majority of the scholars like Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik, and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, rahimahumullah, they say that in Sharia, it has to be halal as well. If it is not halal, then we will not consider it mal in the first place. So it will not even be a mal.
Yes.
I give you an example, like wine. So wine is haram. So in the first place, majority of the scholar will say, okay, it is not even mal. It is not even an asset. It is not even a property. You understand? But Hanafi's approach is much comprehensive and deeper. So in that sense, what they say, okay, it is mal, it is a property, but then they divide mal and property into halal and haram. So this is, but again, practically you would not see much difference when you are applying it in different cases, this understanding. But they say if it is a halal mal, then we will call it mal mutaqawwam. If it is a haram mal, then we will call it mal ghair mutaqawwam. So like it is still mal, it is still property and asset, but mutaqawwam or ghair mutaqawwam.
But still not allowed to trade.
Yeah, so ghair mutaqawwam is something which is haram. Okay,
Yeah.
So the summary of this is that basically it, from the Hanafi perspective, first condition is like it has to be mal mutaqawwam. From the majority of the scholars' perspective, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik, and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, rahimahullah, they say it has to be mal, simple, but of course, like underneath there is a condition of halal as well. So both are same here. So the question was basically, I go back because I spoke a little bit longer, that what is the definition of currency and how do you see that? What are the requirements for something to be a currency in Sharia? So this is number one condition, that it has to be mal mutaqawwam or mal from the majority of the fuqaha. But again, it boils down to the same thing, that okay, it's halal mal. So it has to be halal. And the second thing is very, very simple. There are only two conditions. The second thing is like people customarily use it as money. That's it. So if people start using something which is halal and considered mal as money, as a mode of payment, it will become money.
So now I understand this here. What I know, because you give me 4 requirement. So most argument is the first requirement, a value, right?
Yes.
Because it's not backed, or value is come because they are saying value come just because of they want to buy it.
But okay, I would say, yes, you are right, but there is no restriction from the Sharia perspective again that what are the sources of value. No, there is no restriction. So sources of value can be many. It can be government assurance, just like in fiat currency and national currencies, we see there is a government assurance. Because of that, we say that it has value. This is the source of value, right? Because government has said, okay, it is $100 or 100 dirham or 100 Pakistani rupees, right? And then it's okay, like we back it. So it means that it's a government assurance, and that's why it has value. So it can be government assurance. It can be a commodity, right? So there are so many tokens which are backed by gold, silver, precious metals, even real estate,
Yes.
right? So these tokens automatically derive their value from the underlying asset. Underlying asset can be cash also, like in the form of USDT and USD. In the case of USDT and USDC, you see that like there is cash behind them, reserves, cash reserves. So this also can be done. And the source of value can be a utility, can be a right, can be a benefit, right?
Can be benefit as well.
Yeah. So
Benefit means like selling, buying.
no, so the benefit is in the sense I am saying basically manfa'a in Arabic.
Okay.
The benefit is, and right is haq. So it can be a haq, it can be a manfa'a, so a right also, which is the source of value for that token. So for example, if you have that token, you can participate in something. You understand? So this is the right. Or if you have that token, then you can get a discount on a certain service, a specific service. So this is a manfa'a or a haq, for example. Discount is a haq basically, and manfa'a can be like you can utilize that token somewhere for a specific service. So it can be a utility. Okay. Now, again, what is about Bitcoin? What is the source? So then in the case of also, it can be people's trust also that can build the value. What is the source of value for Bitcoin? It's people's trust. So I am counting all these things: government assurance, commodity. I am also counting utility in any form, in manfa'a or in haq, for example, like right or usufruct, and also people's trust. So these are all sources of value which can give a token some value or price.
Now, okay, we talk about big coins, big tokens, for example, and there is some coins or tokens, I would say, we're trending. It's meme coins. What's Sharia perspective about meme coins?
Okay, I think that, but before that, I would like to also give you and explain a general understanding of haram tokens, for example.
Okay.
So haram tokens are actually, or coins which are which have some prohibited element. So if they have any prohibited element, then we would say that like it is not Sharia compliant. I give you an example. So some tokens are by design have interest element in them. I give you an example of DAI token, DAI. It is considered non-Sharia compliant. Why? Because DAI is created through an interest-bearing loan. So if there is an interest-based transaction, which is a loan, only then it is issued. So that's how basically DAI is issued, and by design you can see that like there is an interest element in it, and that's why it is not considered Sharia compliant. Another thing is about NFTs, for example. So like if we are talking about an art NFT, which is in the form of an image, so this will be considered not Sharia compliant. Why? If that image is basically breaching any Sharia principle or ruling. let's suppose that it's a picture of a woman in an immodest clothing. So then it will be considered not Sharia compliant. That NFT will also be not Sharia compliant. Sometimes it is backed by a commodity which is not considered Sharia compliant. I have seen, for example, a token which was backed by a specific bottle of wine. So because of that, you can see that the underlying asset is not Sharia compliant, so the token will also not be Sharia compliant in that sense. So there are certain examples where we see haram tokens. Now, coming back to your question that whether meme tokens are Sharia compliant or not, so we have to check that, okay, what is the objective of that project? What is the token issuance process? What is the design of that? Is there any prohibited elements? From my personal perspective, I have seen most of the meme coins as not Sharia compliant, by the way. For example, if you look at Notcoin or Shiba Inu coin and other coins, so these coins, number one is like they do not have a clear economic objective. Even when they are launched, they are launched only because there was no economic objective. They were only launched that, okay, people will have it and someday the price will shoot up and then they will have benefits out of it. So like pure speculative purposes. Now, this cannot be true for Bitcoin, by the way. Why Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin was created as a payment system, peer-to-peer payment system to transfer value from one party to another. That was the utility. It was not pure speculative purposes that, okay, Bitcoin will be issued and then it will be listed on one exchange and then the price will shoot up. So meme coins are like that, number one. Their economic objective is not clear, number one. Number two is like even the mindset of the people. Remember that I said that innamal a'malu binniyat as well. So like I think that this factor also plays here a little bit of role, not complete dominating role, but some role is there because like mindset of the people is speculative, purely speculative purposes. Third thing is about like mostly meme coins, what I have seen is like they promote an un-Islamic branding perception. For example, Shiba Inu, if you look at it, like it basically promotes a specific dog breed. And you know that, okay, of course, in overall, generically in Islam, this is not something which is, a dog is not something which is like encouraged to have. People cannot have them in their houses and it is discouraged to have it as a pet. And of course, like you can only have it if you have a hunting dog and there is a need for that. Okay, so Islam allows that, but otherwise Sharia does not allow you to have dog as pets and just to have and then even there are certain rulings saying that like the saliva of dog, for example, sweat of dog is also not pure. So because of that, you are trying to promote something which is discouraged in Islam in that sense. So like the brand perception is also very important. And I have seen in most of the meme coins that, okay, the perception, the brand perception, what they are trying to promote is not Sharia compliant in that manner. So generally, I see that like meme coins are, because of that, not Sharia compliant. But if there is one coin which is, although like categorized as meme coin, but has something as a clear economic objective, that by design it is Sharia compliant, also the brand perception and branding is also Sharia compliant, then I might be able to consider it in a different way.
So it means not all crypto is halal. Okay, a person like me who wants to enter the crypto, how we find out which crypto is halal, which crypto is not permissible?
Yeah, so I mean, I was able to basically create a qualitative and subjective screening criteria for crypto asset. It's quite complicated by the way for common people to understand and then apply this criteria by themselves. So, and you know that another factor is that like it's not like when you see that like one token is halal or haram, it will remain like that forever. So you have to check it regularly. So because of that, I think that we need to create a system and we approach this issue in a systematic manner, that where we have a defined criteria, we apply it and when screen tokens and then say, okay, whether this is halal and that is haram. And we also review them on regular basis. For common people, I think that there was something missing and people were very much confused about it, Muslims, that okay, whether which token is halal, which one is not. I think that the first thing we need is like a proper qualified Sharia scholar understanding the subject matter first and then provide their ruling. And these rulings should be provided in a systematic manner, rather than people are searching and they do not know a sheikh, for example, but then they say, okay, this sheikh somehow he said that, okay, this is halal. And you know that it is not encouraged that, okay, so people just do some internet research and try to search for it, and then you find that, okay, some Sharia scholars, they do not know, but appear to be a Sharia scholar and saying that, okay, this is halal and this is haram. So I think that we need to avoid that unauthentic sources also. So that's why I think now we are addressing this this problem. Alhamdulillah, I think that Saraf screening is doing this, and then there are some other solutions. So they are trying to basically address this issue in a systematic manner. And I think that this would become like a very good resource for Muslim investors and users to differentiate between halal and haram tokens.
So what I'm my understanding right now is a normal person, it's a little bit difficult for himself to find out if it's permissible or not permissible, right?
Yes, you are right.
So we need like in stock market there is AOFI standards, so we need in crypto world also like AOFI standards.
You can say, yeah, sometimes some sort of standards we definitely need, because even in stock markets you have different criteria.
Yeah.
Dow Jones, they have different criteria. IOFI, Pakistan Stock Exchange, Malaysian Stock Exchange, Bursa Malaysia, they all have different criteria. So there are differences among them. But the thing is, like, now there is a systematic approach towards it, like which one is Sharia compliant and which one is not. There are Sharia boards, Sharia experts who can tell you also about this. So I think that this is what we also need in crypto space, a systematic approach, rather than telling people something which they might understand, might not understand, and then say, okay, you are on your own, go and do the research and then do whatever you want, because it's a serious matter. So maybe, because you know that what happens is, like, if let's suppose that you are dealing with a haram token, you generate some profits through the trade of that haram token, then of course, like, the profits, the revenue generated from it is also not Sharia compliant. So we have to be very, very much considerate about it and then take care of it. Yeah.
Okay, I think we finished off the crypto itself. Now the next topic is trading. Let's start with that. What's Sharia requirement of trading?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
At anything.
Mm-hmm. So if you look at the trading and break it down into simple steps, then what do? You buy something, you take the ownership of that something, you take it into your possession, and then sell it to somebody else, right? And I'm talking about spot trading.
Yes,
so
yes.
It's basically spot trading like that. Now Sharia has mainly two rulings about it. As long as the underlying asset, what you are trading, the subject matter of the trade or transaction is Sharia compliant, halal, and when you are trading it, the process and the method of trading is halal, then it will become all halal. Okay. So we have already talked about that, whether crypto assets, what are they? They are currencies, they are non-currencies. If they are currencies, then and halal, then of course, like, you have to apply specific rulings of sarf, which is bay'u sarf, for example, like the currency exchange. So Sharia has very specific rulings about that. So you have to apply them. If they are non-currency tokens, then they will become like a commodity, like a ayan or huquq or usufruct, like manfa'a, for example. So you have to follow the Sharia rulings for that. And if it is a subject matter, this is a crypto asset and it's halal, then the only thing is like you just sell it in a halal way. So like when you are buying it, you pay the price, and the price has to be Sharia compliant as well, halal property. You take the ownership, you take the possession, only then you sell it to another person, then it is halal.
So, okay, here, because Bitcoin is currency, so we use the fatwa of trading of currency, right?
Yes. So Bitcoin is a currency, which means, and it's a, I can tell you that, okay, this is halal property. So in that sense, when you are buying Bitcoin, you have to be, you have to basically execute the transaction on the spot. Like you have to take the possession of the Bitcoin and pay the price immediately. Once you have it, and you know the good thing about crypto asset is that they can immediately be transferred to your account. So once you have, or your wallet also, so once you have the ownership and possession, you can immediately sell it to another party. So there is no problem in it. So
there's no requirement to keep some certain time, nothing. Once you own, you free
once
to do.
the ownership and possession is there, you can immediately sell it, and you can also sleep on it. I mean, you can keep it for a longer period of time. It's up to you.
Yeah. So, and it's not any, is it any requirement that the thing which you are buying, yes, it has to be halal, but it has to be useful for the people, or there is no any certain requirement?
Look, if it was not useful for people in the first place, then there will be no value for that. If there was no value for that, then it was not mal in the first place. You understand?
Yeah.
So because of that, I would say that it was useful. That's why it was mal. That's why it was halal. So then there is no question about it. Now I know that, okay, what you are trying to say, that when you are buying Bitcoin, for example, you might be only buying it not to keep it with you, just to sell it at a higher price. So like an investment. But then again, there are so many people who are, let's suppose, selling fruits, right? So let's suppose that I am a fruit seller. I have apples and I trade apple. I will never, there is no condition that I have to use those apples in my life. There is none from the Sharia perspective. I buy those apples, sell those apples, and I make profit out of it. Whether people buy from me those apples and then throw it in the dustbin, or they just waste them, they eat them, they do whatever they want to do because this is their property, I don't care. But what I do, of course, like now there is a very, very specific case, like when people are buying it to do haram things. For example, like there is a ruling in grapes, for example, like that if can you sell grapes to the winemakers or not, there is a different debate, by the way. But right now what I'm trying to say here is that, like, I don't utilize those apples. I just buy them and sell them to the buyers and make profit out of it. Will apple be haram for me or no? Yes, it is halal. Why? Because I am buying, apple itself is a halal subject matter, and I am buying it in a Sharia compliant manner and selling it in a Sharia compliant manner. So there is no problem with it. Now replace this apple with gold. Same thing. I buy gold. When the price is high for the gold, I sell it in the market to any potential buyer. I don't use that gold. Now that period of holding gold can be 1 second, can be 1 year, can be 10 years, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now,
here it comes many questions, but still it goes to, because you already explained of value, the useful of the
usefulness
Bitcoin.
of Bitcoin, yes.
For example, here I would have two questions. Even I was distributor for mobile phones. As you mentioned, I was distributor. I was like buying the phone from the manufacturer. I would sell to the wholesaler to end the small shop owner, then go to end of user. But still, end of user person will use the phone like useful thing. My first question like that, but you already answered, like Bitcoin is useful for the payment solution.
Yes.
So then like I don't have any question on that. Then second question will be, I think this question a little bit more deep. A person who just trade on crypto, nothing else, just trade and earn money. Like, did he do something good in his life? Like, only trade.
Okay, so again, I will continue with my example.
Okay.
So if an apple seller is only trading apples, not doing anything with it, so again, it's Sharia compliant. Is he
Yes.
doing something good? Yes, of course, he is doing something good, right? Then replace apple with gold. So then gold, if it is gold, is he doing something good? Yes, you will say, okay, yes, he is doing something good. Although like he is trading gold, that's it. But he's following Sharia compliant, Sharia rulings and the Sharia principles and guidelines. As long as he is doing it, he's earning halal money, and there is no problem with it. Now, I would say that replace gold with fiat currency. Okay? So he is buying US dollar, selling US dollar. Is he doing something good? Yes. Why? Because if let's suppose that you replace all these US dollars, currency exchangers, money changers from the market, how will you buy other currencies then? So they are actually providing a service to the community. So Bay'u Sarf is halal. As long as a money changer is following Bay'u Sarf rule, he is actually doing something good.
And what's the rules? If you
For currency, straightforward is the currency has to be equal to equal if it is the same currency, and it has to be on the spot. But if they are different currencies, for example, you are buying UAE dirhams with the US dollar, then they do not have to be equal. Okay, so
but it has to be hand in hand.
But it has to be hand to hand,
on
the spot. So this is the only ruling, right? And we consider that all the different currencies are halal and different from each other. So like Pakistani rupee is different from UAE dirham, UAE dirham is different from US dollar is from GBP, etc. So in that sense, they are all different. So equality is not a condition. Only that like they have to be exchanged is on the spot, and they are halal. So understanding from this same ruling, we are applying it in crypto assets. Number one is like they have to be halal. Crypto. Now we were talking about currencies only, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or others. So those cryptocurrencies first, they have to be halal, number one, and then different cryptocurrencies will be considered different genus. Different types, and because of that, equality is not a condition, but they have to be traded on the spot. On the spot means like if let's suppose that I have Ethereum and you have US dollar, and Ethereum, considering that it is a halal cryptocurrency, then I can on the spot can exchange it with US dollar, and this is okay. And I tell you another thing is that this is also a service. So like in the case of Apple, it was a service. In case of gold, it was a service. And in case of currency, I explained because I saw that like there was some confusion on your face that, okay, if it is currency, then how? But then I told you that if you remove all the currency exchangers and money changers, then what would happen? It will be very, very difficult for you to go to any country, and where will you buy the money from there, right? You will. So this is a service actually. You have to understand it. And then cryptos also are same, because in Bitcoin has a specific utility. Ethereum has a specific utility. There are other coins which have different utilities, different projects behind them. So, and with those, with the backing of those projects, there is some economic activity there overall. And so when you are transacting, then you are also doing the same thing. Now, a very good example just came into my mind is stocks. So when we are talking about secondary market in stocks, what actually you are doing? Because you understand that in the primary market, what happens is like a company goes into the capital market, they raise funding. So the company gets the funding directly because they are issuing their shares. Yes. So I understand that in the primary market, during the IPO, the company raising funds and they are getting the money, and they utilize these funds for operations, for expanding their product line, etc., for businesses. So they create economic activity, they create business. But what happens in the secondary market, for example? People are buying shares just for the sake of selling it also. I mean, of course, there are some other people who are buying shares, hold them so that like they can own the ownership interest in the company. They receive dividends. So you understand now, these are different people who are holding shares to participate in a business and control the ownership interest in it, and then they receive dividends. Okay, but there is a huge amount of people who are involved in secondary market for trading purposes. Huge amount. Okay, and these people, some of them are day traders, but some of them are long-term traders, doesn't matter, but they are only there for trading purposes.
Yes.
So they buy shares and sell shares, that's it.
Yeah, but the thing is, when they buy the shares, they buy ownership of the big company who exists in this life, who is let's say hiring the people, doing good to society, who is paying the taxes and so on. So like they buy the like some value things. In the crypto, it's a little bit different. Okay, let's say Bitcoin. Okay, Ethereum, let's say they have a company and so on, but Bitcoin or small cap coins, we just buy. Okay, I will tell from myself, I buy just hoping the price goes up.
Yeah, but you know that like you have already given the answer also, that those companies whom are which are floating shares in the market and you are buying their shares, you are buying ownership interest in that company, and by that right it is okay because this company is a big company, this company is paying taxes, they are having a business model, and they are generating some services, giving it to the and then contributing in the real economy. Same goes for crypto companies as well. For example, Ethereum, what are they doing? It's a software company then, in that sense, in the traditional sense, right? They are providing their services also to facilitate smart contract development.
Yes.
And people are developing those smart contracts for different purposes. So in that sense, it is a business, and they are paying taxes. I do not know whether they are doing it or not, but of course, like it's a big company, it is a registered company, they are following the compliance and regulatory requirements also. So many of them are doing it. So it's, of course, if they are not doing it, that is something, a fraudulent activity maybe, if they are not abiding by the law, for example. So this is a different debate. I'm not promoting them, but what I'm saying is that if you have a criteria saying that if there is a business, they can issue their shares, then I will say, okay, if there is a business, they can also issue their token in the same manner. And then what? And they can have like a primary market issuance, and then they can also have secondary market trading, because even we have rulings for stock exchange, stock trading. And Shariah ruling, it's now Shariah compliant. For a long time, it was considered, by the way, as non-Shariah compliant. In the late 80s, it was only early 90s that Shariah scholars started talking about it and then allowing it with conditions that, okay, if these conditions are met, then you can participate in stock exchanges and then do stock trading. So similarly, I think with cryptos is the same. The only thing is, I can see that like it's an ownership interest. So a share gives you an ownership interest in a company, in a business. What does a token give you? This is the question. I say that, okay, it does not give you same exact ownership interest, but again, if you go back to the discussion of the source of value, that where it is coming from, it is attached to a business. When the business grows, the value of the token also grows, or maybe there is a utility underneath, or there is a underlying asset which gives you an ownership. For example, like if it is a commodity token like precious metals, real estate, etc. So then in that sense, you can see that there is an independent value source for the token itself. So in shares, The value of shares is coming from the ownership interest, because there is a business, the business is doing well, it is performing. Based on that performance, you are considering that the share value will go up, the share price will go up. So similarly, there is a business in crypto. Now there are different businesses, and you can see that with that they are providing some services, maybe some utilities, some other things, and because of that the token is attached with the business, and the business performance, if it is good, then the token value will also go up and down.
And one of the things also, like in trading in the crypto, compared to most of the scores compared to the gambling.
Okay.
Because of the rules of gambling is one part is winning because of another part is losing, and the second one is you don't know the result, like you don't know what's happening, you just like invest like blindly eyes. So two reasons kind of we can find out in same thing in the crypto.
Okay, but I also do not agree with that, but because gambling can be found in anything, number one. But what is the definition of gambling, like qimar and maisir? So I did a lot of research on this topic and found that, like you have also indicated it, that there are two main factors. If you have these two main factors in one transaction, then we call it gambling. One is the game of chance, meaning that nobody knows that, okay, what is the outcome
Yes.
of this transaction. Okay, so it depends on chance. Whether if the chance is favorable for me, I will win. If it is a chance against me, I will lose. So, and I do not know what will happen. So it's a game of chance. Number two is about it's a zero-sum game, which means that like I cannot win if you do not lose. So like your loss is my profit. So it has to be this. Only then it will become gambling. So like these two factors are combined together in a transaction, then we say that like it's gambling. What happens in crypto, for example? Crypto, if you are doing a spot trading of a halal crypto, you are actually owning a token. So you are selling something and the buyer is buying something. So it's a sale contract. And this is allowed in Islam generally. It's again correct and valid for apples, for gold, for money, for cryptos also, because it's a buying and selling thing. Gambling is completely different in that sense, because here in a sale transaction, both parties are gaining something out of it. Otherwise, if it was not the case, then Islam wouldn't allow it in the first place. Sharia wouldn't allow sale transaction in the first place. Both parties are actually benefiting from this transaction. That's why it is allowed in Sharia. So similarly, sale is like that. So if you buy, now the thing is like, the question should be like, whether are you buying something? Is it a sale contract or a gambling transaction? You understand? The question should be like that. So then in that sense, you can see that like when I buy Bitcoin even, I possess something. When I walk out from this transaction, then I have Bitcoin, for example. I pay you US dollar, you sell me Bitcoins. So then I own and possess those Bitcoins with me when I walk out from this transaction, and you will have dollars. So there is a transfer of ownership. Previously, you own Bitcoin, I owned US dollar. After this transaction, now you own US dollar, I own Bitcoin. So there is a transfer of ownership there. But in gambling, it doesn't happen because I have to lose basically. So, but here both parties are benefiting from this transaction. So, and it's a sale transaction. So that's how I see it. But if you say it is gambling, mostly people, even Sharia scholars, they get confused it with speculation. Now, this is something different. There is a difference between gambling and speculation. What is the difference? Again, you know the gambling, there are two factors combined in one transaction, then it becomes gambling. What is speculation? Speculation means that you are actually expecting something that it will in the future will generate some profits. This is happening in every business. Why would you sell Apple? Why would you sell gold? Why would you sell currencies? Or why would you sell mobile phone, for example? If you know that it is not going to generate me profit, you speculate, you expect that this is going to happen and I will generate some profit out of it. So this is happening in every business. So speculation itself, if you look at the technical definition, like the actual definition of a speculation, then you would say that like it is allowed in and it is present in every business. In every business. It's not only, so on the basis of a speculation, you cannot say the business is haram or the transaction is haram. Speculating means, again, I repeat, but speculating means like I am expecting that I am going to make some profit out of it. And both parties are speculating basically in a sale transactions. So speculation is there, and that is why both parties are doing the transaction. If they know they are going to make some losses, why would they come to execute that transaction in the first place?
Yeah, speculation. Now, when you were talking, I was thinking because I did like different businesses. Actually, all of the businesses have some speculation. Even the stock market, for example, when we buy like some stocks, we're expecting price goes up. But there is kind of we used to say whales, big companies. They know where is the stop losses. Where they know like where people like wants to sell. So like they dumped the price, and then they took all the stop losses and price like go up. So next day you wake up, you didn't lost, but the price is almost same. And that's happening very often in crypto because of this so far no regulation, no rules. So how the Sharia looks at, because speculation is not it's not allowed, but to work in one market, it's a lot of speculation. It's okay.
Okay, so I would say there are different factors. We have to understand them, the different concepts. For example, one is market intelligence.
Yeah.
Market intelligence means like you have some estimation. You know that, okay, what is the demand for this specific share or a specific crypto, and what will be the selling price, what would be the buying price, for example. So this is all estimations and market intelligence. So you understand the market. You try to understand the market before executing any transaction. I think there is no problem with this. You are just trying to gather some information, you do the research, and then you are thinking that, okay, when to make a move.
Yeah.
So in Sharia, there is no problem with that. But there is another thing which is called market manipulation. Now, market manipulation is not allowed in Sharia. What is it? It's a combination of different tactics where you try to corner one segment of a market. For example, if you are a big whale or an institutional investor, you try to basically take advantage of the retail investors. So how do you do it? You know that like when I am holding a lot of Bitcoins. When I start dumping in the market, the prices will go down. Or gradually, I will first sell it in small pieces, for example, like creating a cascade. So, and driving the prices down. So that like after that, because I knew that like previously, I wanted to basically buy a large amount of Bitcoin. So, but before that, I manipulated the market. I created a cascade so that like the prices, suppressing the prices. And once it hits my desirable level, I buy in bulk, for example, a lot of Bitcoin. So it happens, but this is market manipulation. Market manipulation is not allowed in Sharia because it basically, it's a set of different tactics, different strategies, different acts, which involve deception, which involve dishonesty sometimes, and also like unethical practices. So because of that, it is not allowed in Sharia. But gathering market intelligence and then making the right move, it's allowed.
Because when I was talking with one of our scholars and about the gambling, it's like I was explaining it's not gambling, because I explained like before we enter the market, we do the analysis, we check the news and so on. And he gave me example. Okay, even betting for football matches or for horses, these people also do the analysis. Like they check the player, they check the matches before that, and they spend a lot of time for that. But it's gambling.
Yeah, you are right. So in the sense that of market intelligence and calculation and estimation, I think he was right that if you are executing a transaction, a sale transaction, you do research, you do market intelligence, you gather market intelligence, and then you do some estimation, only then you do it. It can also happen in gambling. When people are betting, they can also do a lot of calculation, estimation. There is no doubt about it. But the differentiating factor is one is gambling with two factors combined in one transaction. This first one is a sale contract, which is allowed in Sharia. So regardless of whether whatever your market intelligence is, or if it is similar method you are using for betting and for sale, but sale is allowed because in Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly mentioned that halallahu al-bay'a wa harrama al-riba. So bay' is halal, sale is halal, as long as sale transaction is there clearly, and there is a transfer of ownership and possession is there, and subject matter is halal, and it fulfills all the values, the requirements and principles of a sale contract, then it's a sale contract. It's not gambling.
So I think that gambling then it matches mostly for futures market, option market.
Yeah. So I mean, we were discussing only about spot trading, and then there are other financial instruments like futures, forwards, and options. These are derivatives. But these derivatives are not Sharia compliant for the reasons that, okay, these are devices and tools for gambling. And how do I do it? Because even if you look at the future contract, a future contract, so there is no actual buying and selling. There is no actual sale contract. It's just like a commitment or a promise from one party that I will sell you something in the future, okay? And that promise is being traded in the market itself. So this is like a future. And what is an option? Option is again like a right to buy. So it's not actual sale, it's a right to buy in the future. And with that, you start selling that right in the market. In a nutshell. So these are devices and tools for gambling itself, because there is no actual selling and buying, but you are able to bet on the prices, that the prices direction, that whether they are going in the positive direction or in the negative direction, and how can I benefit from it wherever the prices move. So in that sense, it is not confined. These futures, forwards, and options are not confined to crypto. Even futures, options, and forwards are not allowed in currency market, in commodities market, in another thing. So like even if you are buying futures of Apple, it is still a future. It's not allowed.
I think that's why like most of the scholars get confused or misunderstood about trading on crypto or stock, because when I entered the crypto trading, I don't know, maybe 90% or 85% people are trading in futures. That's why when we explain to the scholars, they explain the futures trade. So in futures, if I buy, I'm betting if price goes up or down. I don't buy the asset. I just betting. This is gambling.
Yeah.
But when we start working on the spot, then it's like normal trading of Apple, as you explain. Because I buy from someone. For example, I buy from you, but you already make profit and you sell to me. I buy it. I make profit. I sell to someone else. He make profit also when price goes up. So it's not like in spot. Not like if I make profit doesn't mean the other party has to make loss. So this is, I think, like a little bit misunderstood about scholars, because everyone in trading, most of the people in trading works in futures. But
it's not everyone, sorry, but you are right. that futures are not allowed, and these are the tools for gambling. But again, we have to understand that these tools or these derivatives are not allowed even in the commodity market. So they are not confined or very unique or particular for crypto market. So if you have a future of in the commodity market or currency market or in any other market, it is not allowed. A spot, then we can talk about what is halal and what is not halal, and if there is an actual sale contract or not, and if there is an actual sale transaction, then it would become halal, regardless of whether after the sale what happens. Because if let's suppose that I buy a Bitcoin from you, and after and it's a sale contract, a spot delivery, and the ownership has been transferred already, it's up to me that whatever I want to do with this Bitcoin now. So like just after getting the possession, I immediately sell it to another person. It's up to me.
Yes.
Why it should be halal, why it should be haram. And if I want to hold it for 10 years or 1 year or 1 month, it's up to me also, because this is now my property. I have the ownership of it.
Okay, let's say trading on the spot. Okay, futures we understand. Okay, we don't go even futures contracts already wrong, but trading on crypto on spot. But I know the market manipulation is very high because of there is no regulation so far, and still big whales are manipulating. So, as a person, as a Muslim person, to enter that market and trade that assets which are manipulated by some big players, is it allowed?
Okay, for me, in that sense, I would only say that okay, there is a legal maxim which says saddu dhari'a and maslaha mursala.
Okay.
Saddu dhari'a means like you basically close the doors which are leading you towards haram.
Yes.
So you are closing the door. Saddu dhari'a means that, and then maslaha mursala means like there is a public interest. So like if you know that there are so many factors, and there is a high chance that one specific thing is disadvantageous for the public. It's not good for the public. So on the basis of maslaha, you would say that okay, people should avoid it. Number one. Number two, you know that like it is going to lead towards haram, then you say okay, just avoid it because it is going to it is leading you towards haram also. So these are the two things. But at the same time, I would say that like it's not like it is against public good. There is a debate on it, like whether Bitcoin is harmful to the public or beneficial for the public, in the sense that there was a whole political argument behind it. Why Bitcoin was created in the first place. In the white paper, it was written, and it's not only, okay, we have already moved forward from Bitcoin also. So, but okay, let me just, let me just first focus on this and then we will go there. So, the question was about public good. So there is a whole debate about public good, whether crypto assets are for the public good or harmful actually. So there is a debate about it, because people have different perspective, people are in different situation, they have different needs, different requirements, and they see that like okay, they can see that like it is for public good or not. It is debatable. For example, if you look at the white paper of Bitcoin when it was created, so the white paper also mentioned that okay, we need a P2P, peer-to-peer payment system, because right now there is a monopoly in financial industry in it, and these banks are okay. This is not written, but there was a hint in the Bitcoin system that these banks are too big to fail. Okay, we are protecting them, and they are not doing good to the public at all. So why should we protect them? Rather than we should go and create our own peer-to-peer payment system and avoid these banks. So there was an argument behind it. So what I'm trying to say here is that whether it is it is good for public or not, according to maslaha, then there is a debate about it. Number one. Number two is like if it is leading to haram or halal, again, there is a debate about it. Because the way I see it, like initially right now, if there are no regulations or there are very minimum regulations right now, in the future, I will see more regulations coming up, more maturity will be introduced in the market, and then we will have a clear vision and objective to use those crypto assets for halal purposes. So it's leading towards halal in that sense. So again, it's perspective and also subjective, that how you see it. So this is how I would answer that. Again, what I'm saying is that if you have a specific project or a token which you clearly see that, okay, this is maybe a scam or maybe a fraud or maybe something which is bad for the public, then definitely we can talk about it, and then we can say that, okay, no, it is not Sharia compliant, that is specific project. But if you are having a blanket ruling or like a blanket statement that all cryptos are haram and from the Sharia, then it's a very, very strong statement to make. You have to substantiate it with textual evidences, and then it has to be very, very clear. For example, almost like we know that wine is haram, right? And there is no, because of course, like it has been substantiated, and we actually see that like wine in different forms, different labels, also it remain haram. So there is a very clear understanding of it. So we have to have like a clear understanding if you are saying that like this whole phenomena, this whole industry is haram.
Yeah, actually, our time is timing like almost coming end, but there's a lot of topics we still have to talk. Okay, now my last question, and then there is like we got some more questions from the people. I think we answered shortly for these questions. Let's see. We found like we spoke the Bitcoin or crypto has utility. It can be useful, and in the Sharia, it's not requirement to be backed by government. And in trading, if you trade on spot, you can follow the Sharia requirement. It's okay. Why people still doubting Sharia scholars are not giving fatwa yet, and especially Taqi Usman Sahib, for example, what's their last point of view of the crypto? I think he didn't give any fatwa yet.
Okay, so some people are still reluctant. I think that this is basically their nature, that how they see things, how they have got the knowledge, and what are the sources of the knowledge, and whether they have completed their research or not. So these all factors actually play a role in coming up with a Sharia opinion for a specific mufti. So this is, I think that it depends on different factors, number one. So that's why I would say that why there are some scholars haven't given a fatwa, a formal fatwa, but some scholars have already done that. So even in Malaysia, we see that like a lot of Sharia scholars have already given it, and then Central Bank of Malaysia and Securities Commission Malaysia, they have Sharia standards for cryptos, for example. And there are some individual scholars also saying that if it is with conditions, like for example, if it is the business is halal, the token design is halal, then we can also say that like it is halal. So some scholars are now moving towards that direction. Some scholars still are in the process of doing research and trying to find the answers. Then it's up to them. Specifically about Mufti Taqi Usmani, Hafizahullah, I am not aware of his latest opinion about it. But rather than talking about an individual, I would say that like we would like to have institutional fatwa. For example, like Darul Ulum Karachi. So this is like a madrasa or if an institution. So if they give the fatwa, then I think that that would be more useful for the people, and we really need it on time also. So it's basically because a lot of people are getting involved into, a lot of Muslim people are getting involved into it, thinking either that, okay, scholars are not going to help them, so we have to take
Yes.
the issues in their own hands, saying that, okay, that I want to basically decide myself and then I will go into it. Number one. Some people I have met, they are saying that, okay, even like they are Muslims, but they are saying that, okay, because there is no clear guidance from the scholarship on this issue, there is a lot of confusion, and because of that, even if it is haram, I will do it because I see the profit there. So it's happening right now, and it's very, very saddening situation that people are not trying to find the solutions and the answers, but not finding them, and then facing the situations in a different way. Even like we are doing some survey. So I was doing the survey and I found so many people saying that right now Sharia opinions about cryptos is still confusing for them. Some people are saying that they are not very clear, they are still uncertain, and there is a lot of confusion. They also found that some opinions are still based on a very superficial information. So I think that this should not be happening, because it's a very, very serious matter right now, and it's a huge phenomena. So many conventional banks are providing those services for crypto assets now. So, and then institutions are coming in. You have already talked about ETFs, so they are coming in the market. So now it is becoming a part of the financial industry. So we have to take it seriously.
Thank you for your time. It was very useful. Even for me, myself, I got a lot of information. I hope the people who is watching us also got information about crypto more clearly. Yeah, that's also like made me sad. Some like Muslim people, when they enter, they couldn't find a regulation, and they just say, okay, whatever. Like they just do the fully haram, haram thing. So I hope our guidance or a video will give them like to show them the right way, inshallah. We have some small question from the people, so if you don't mind, I will give you, but short answers will be nice. Okay, first the question was difference between futures and trade and spot trade. I think we already explained it. Is shorting is allowed in Islam?
Okay, so what is short selling? Short selling means that you are selling something which you do not own at the time of the transaction, but when the time of delivery comes, then you will buy it and then give it to the person, to the buyer himself. So it is not allowed in Islam. Why? Because there is a direct hadith which says that la tabi' ma laysa indak, that you do not sell something which you do not own. So, and you know that the question was asked by a Sahabi, and the Sahabi was also saying the same thing, that okay, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he asked him that can I sell something which I know that it's already in the market, when the time of delivery comes, then I will go and buy it in the from the market and then deliver it. So, but I am hoping that like when at the delivery time, the price of that thing will be lesser than the price of the sale which I did with the buyer. So this is what the context of it. And even then, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that like you cannot sell something which you do not own. So it means that like you have to first have the ownership, and that's why even our conversation, like we were stressing on two things. One is like the ownership and possession, and only then you sell it to other people. So it's not basically Sharia compliant.
And the next question, similar of the shorting, it's margin on the spot. Is allowed doing margin on spot.
So, okay, what is margin trading first? We have to understand it. It is also called leverage trading, right? So what happens is that the platform you are trading on, they give you leverage on a certain asset. Let's suppose it is a crypto exchange and it gives you leverage of 10x on Bitcoin. What does it mean? It means that if you own one Bitcoin, still you will be able, and you utilize their service, this leverage trading and margin trading, then what will happen, and if it is 10x, then it means that like you can basically trade 10 Bitcoins. Although like you actually have only one, but then you can sell and buy and do the trading with 10 Bitcoins. So it is actually a loan from the platform itself. Okay, in that sense, basically you have only one Bitcoin. The rest of the Bitcoins, 9 Bitcoins, are coming from the platform itself as a loan. Now, some people got confused because most of the platforms right now, they are not charging you any interest on this loan. So there is no fees for margin trading and leverage trading. And when there is none, then people think that, okay, it is like an interest-free loan,
Yes.
which is allowed in Islam, so it should be allowed, right? But here is the thing, that although like in a very, very brief manner, I will say, although it is not a direct interest, but they are charging you interest indirectly. How? Actually, what they are doing is they have figured it out that if they give you this loan interest-free without any fees and charging, still your magnitude and volume of transaction will increase. And because of that, what will happen is you will end up paying more transaction fees to them. So they are increasing their transaction fees, although like they are not charging you direct interest or any fees from the leverage service. So this service gives them more transaction fees, more profit. You understand?
I understand, but
So this is like an indirect interest.
yes, okay.
And there is a benefit to them in this loan. And there is a saying, although like there is a debate whether this is a direct hadith from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam or not, but it says kullu qardin jarra manfa'atan fahuwa riba, that any loan that derives or gives the lender some benefit, it is a riba. And you know that even in Sahaba time, there is also a hadith. I forgot whether it was Abdullah bin Umar or Abdullah bin Abbas. Most probably it is Abdullah bin Abbas was saying that that if there is a Sahabi and he has lent some money to another person in Prophet's era and even after that in Sahaba's era, so they were avoiding to sit in the shade of the house also, trying to avoid a benefit whom they have given the loan, right? So in that sense, so they were just avoiding it, like so this, in that sense, it is this hadith or this saying is validated from the practice of the Sahaba, that they were avoiding to sit in the shades of a house of a person who has taken the loan from that Sahabi. You understand? So here also you can see that this platform is giving you a restricted loan, by the way. So this interest-free loan is not unrestricted. What does it mean? It means that these 9 Bitcoins extra are restricted on that platform and can only be utilized for the trading purposes. So this is the restriction coming with. Why? Because they want to restrict you if it is and then make profit out of it. So that's how they are basically charging you interest. Now, if it is an unrestricted, then we can have a debate about it, and maybe like we will allow it also, because but again I say it with a condition, maybe, because so like we can do more research on it. Like if it is unrestricted, what does it mean? Unrestricted means that we are giving you these 9 Bitcoins extra. You can transfer these Bitcoins to another platform if you want to. So this is like there is no restriction on it, right?
Then securities will be problem. The person who is giving the loan.
Yeah, so you are right, but that's the essence of a loan, right? So interest-free loan, what does it mean? If I am giving you an interest-free loan, it means that I cannot just tell you that, okay, I am giving you an interest-free loan, but you just keep this loan in this room only, and If let's suppose it's a shop, my shop, I give you an interest-free loan, but I'm saying that, okay, you cannot take out this loan out of my shop, and this loan is only to buy things on my shop. You understand? So this type of restriction I am putting in on this loan. I will give you this loan, it is interest-free, I'm not charging you anything, but this loan can only be utilized by you to buy something from me.
Okay, I have. Okay, but if I continue, it will take.
So
time.
yeah, so this is basically the essence of it. And this, with this condition, Sharia scholars will not allow the interest-free loan because indirectly I am benefiting from this loan.
Now, there's a lot of question about, for example, now it's very trending, Notcoin, or let's say there's, I think hamster coin, something. It's kind of in the screen, this kind of game. You just press, you get the coins, and when it is launched in one of the platform, you can sell it. You earn money.
Okay.
So it's kind of meme coins. But Notcoin, for example, Notcoin is related to Notcoin is actually Telegram's project, but I think it's meme coin.
Okay.
So this kind of coin is halal or haram. I don't know if you have time to check the Notcoin.
So I can give you a general example very specifically. Then I might be able to shed some light on it, a specific one. So first is like meme coins. From my experience, what I have found is like generally they are not Sharia compliant. And also game-based coins are questionable. Why? Now, I can tell you because they are very, very complex. There are so many games on one blockchain, for example. And if let's suppose that this blockchain has been built to facilitate games only, video games, the problem is that like every video game has to be checked. That the story is okay, the character appearance is okay, the impact of that game is also is fine from the Sharia perspective. We have to basically go through and review different things about it. So it becomes a very, very huge task, and most of the time you will not find that information. So like you have to manually go through it and experience the game itself, so that like only you can say whether it is halal or haram. So the game is halal or haram, that is a question. So if it is a game-based coin, we have to check that whether the game itself is halal or not. Only then we can tell that okay, the coin is halal. But the problem is with games, there is a lot of information we need to come up with a Sharia ruling, and most of the time that information is not available.
So better to stay away.
Yeah. So for game-based coin, I would say that like it is better to stay away. Although like I cannot say directly that it is haram or halal unless I scrutinize and review a game.
Okay, this is also very nice question about algo trade.
Okay.
Before that, okay, is day trading allowed or not allowed in crypto?
In crypto, if you are trading on a platform where you can immediately get ownership and possession, then there is no problem on a spot. And again, one condition is that the underlying crypto is halal and you get immediate ownership and possession, then there is no problem with day trading.
Okay. Next question is like algo trade.
Yeah.
Where robot trade for yourself. Is it allowed, algo trades?
Algorithmic trading is also allowed if with the same condition.
Yes.
That if you can get if the underlying asset is halal, you get the ownership and possession of the underlying asset, and only then you immediately sell it. Or either you do it by yourself by clicking, or you basically use an algorithm which is doing it, then it is okay.
It's about Garar. They mentioned, if crypto is not, trading is not gambling, but still there's a lot of doubts. So it doesn't make things a Garar.
Okay.
So trading in crypto is not a Garar.
So first we have to understand what is Garar. Garar is an attribute of a transaction where the information and clarity is not available either for the underlying asset or for its delivery, I mean, we call it that, okay, gharar is found in arkanul aqd. Like, what is the arkanul aqd? For example, like there is a subject matter. So we have ambiguity, and we have not enough information, insufficient information about the subject matter itself. So the transacting party do not have the correct information or the insufficient information about the some underlying subject matter, meaning that they do not know clearly that what is they are buying and selling. You understand? Gharar can be found in the price of the subject matter also, that we do not know what is the exact price of it. Sometimes the gharar can be found in the delivery of the transaction of the underlying asset, that we do not know when it's going to be delivered. So these kind of things basically are gharar. But if, let's suppose that I do not understand the subject matter, in the sense that I do not know its technicality, does it mean it is gharar? No. If, let's suppose that I haven't spent more time doing research, and because of that I do not have a very clear idea about what is it gharar? I highly doubt. I give you an example now. Mobile phone, you know that, okay, how it works and what are the features in it. But if, let's suppose, there is a Chinese mobile phone, I really do not know exactly what are its features. It's not a very popular mobile phone, but I know that, okay, it's a mobile phone, and what it does is basically it facilitates calling services. It also sends messages, and there are some extra features in it. But that's it. Okay. Does it mean that there is so much gharar in it? No. Why? Because I have the mobile phone in my hand and I am selling it to you and saying that, okay, this is, I am selling it to you for $100. You give me $100 right now, and this is the mobile phone. There are a lot of features in it, but most of them I don't understand. Of course, doesn't matter, but I give it to you. And then you buy it. Is there any gharar out of it? No, because and I will also ask you that, okay, you can check it. You can open the mobile phone and check the features. It's working fine. You are happy with it. Then it's okay. So again, it's not about it's basically, gharar is an attribute of a transaction itself. Like, gharar is like, I do not know what I am selling to you. Let's suppose that there is a box. I do not know what's in the box, but I am selling it to you for $100. You also do not know what's in the box. You say, okay, Farrukh, I will pay you $100, and I will open the box and I will find out that, okay, what is it? This is gharar. So and or time of delivery. For example, I say, okay, give me $100. I will sell you a mobile phone, which is very specific, iPhone 14 Pro Max with this color and with this thing. But delivery time, I do not know. I will just give it to you in the future. So tomorrow, after 1 week, after 1 month, after 1 year, after 10 years. So there is gharar in it. So this is gharar actually. Uncertainty is being created within the arkanul aqd itself.
So what do you say then, the people who doesn't understand this industry at all, to enter to trading in crypto?
So again, they do not understand is another thing. But if let's suppose that they take the possession of 1 Bitcoin, they will get 1 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So there is no gharar in the sense that whether it is 1 Bitcoin or 1 Ethereum or $1, it's 1 Bitcoin they will get. And they pay the price. They know what is the price of it. $68,000. They are paying $68,000 for 1 Bitcoin. They receive it today, and they will own it and they will possess it, right? So in that sense, there is no gharar. But we can advise those people that before getting into this market, instead of just simply buying them and start trading, they should have basic knowledge.
Dr. Farrukh, Jazakallah khairan. Well, thank you for your time. It was very useful information. I hope for the people also who entering industry for the crypto industry. It was useful information. Thank you one more time. It
Jazakumullah
was still
khairan.
out of questions, but inshallah for next time we will keep it for next time.
Inshallah.
Thank you. If you have anything to say for the
No, thank you so much. Jazakallahu khaira. And I'm looking forward to sharing more information and also learning from you. Jazakallah.
thank you so much. Thank you for everyone.
Hayyakumullah.